is the Transfiguration itself. Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up on the mountain, and he's transfigured in front of them. He turns into a glistening white, shining with the heavenly light, as a kind of a foretaste to us a little bit of what it is going to be like in the kingdom of heaven for those of us who follow Christ, for those of us who are faithful to the end. We will be in our own kind of shining with the divine light, our own transfiguration. And Peter, James, and John fall down, and when they look up, Moses and Elijah are with Christ. Two things about that always amaze me is, the first is not so amazing. It's that Moses and Elijah are there to show that Christ is the God of both the living, Elijah, who never died and was taken to heaven in a fiery chariot, and Moses, who did die, and yet is not dead. It's a sign to us, of course, that no one is dead in Christ. And so he appears with Moses and Elijah to show that he is the God of the living and the dead. But the second thing about that is always amazing to me, is that Peter, James, and John didn't think it was all that crazy. They look up and they say to Jesus, they say, "Lord, let us build booths here so we can stay here with you and Moses and Elijah." It's not like, why is Elijah here? Why is Moses here? Moses died. He was in the Old Testament. He was in the law. He was hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There was none of that kind of awe. Rather, it was almost matter of fact that in Christ, the resurrected, transfigured Christ, Moses, of course, will appear with him because he's not dead. No one is dead in Christ. He has trampled down death by death. So that's the first thing, is that Jesus shows that he's the God of both the living and the departed. And then the second thing is that Peter, James, and John say to Jesus, "Lord, please, this is so amazing. Let us just stay here with you. Let us stay on this mountain with you, with Moses and Elijah. We'll build booths, we'll stay here." And what does Jesus say to them? He doesn't really say it in the gospel, but we can imagine. They fall down, Moses and Elijah disappear, and on the way down from the mountain, Jesus says, "Don't tell anyone about this till I'm risen from the dead." He doesn't let them stay on the mountain. He says, "Yes, you have experienced transfiguration. You know now who I am. Now you got to go back down that hill, and you got to go back down into all that stuff down there, and you got to still live the life that I call you to live." And it's the same lesson for us as Christians. We come here to the mountain. We come here to the transfigured, resurrected Christ. We've received the transfigured, resurrected Christ, and he has become one with us. We have become one with him. And what does Jesus say? What the church says all the time: let us depart in peace. Don't stay here. Go out there. Prove, show that you know the resurrected, transfigured Christ by living a resurrected, transfigured life yourself. And so it's the same as like, for example, Pascha. You know, we're all gloriously celebrating Pascha. We have celebrated for 40 days. But if it never went away, it would cease being Pascha. It would cease being special. And if we could just stay in the church for our whole life, and there's some people who do, they go to Mount Athos and places like that. If you're not willing to do that, if you're not willing to give up everything and go live in a monastery, then Jesus says to us, let us depart in peace. Go back down the mountain, go into the world, live a resurrected, transfigured life, and then you will show that you are my disciples. What a glorious, glorious feast day Transfiguration is. It always is, it's like all sorts of things in America. It's like Memorial Day is the start of summer, you know, and everything else. Transfiguration to me, I was like, now it's summer. Now it's summer because we have had this feast with the fruits, with the proclamation of the resurrected, transfigured Christ. Now, for me anyway, it's summer. So may the resurrected, transfigured life, Christ live in all of us, and may that resurrected, transfigured life shine as brightly in us as it did in the Lord on that day, on that mountain, as we go back out through these doors into the world, down off the mountain to live the life that